The day everything fell apart started like any ordinary morning in Willow Creek, the kind of quiet American town where nothing dramatic ever seemed to happen. I woke up to the smell of burnt toast and the soft hum of the old ceiling fan spinning above me. Life wasn't perfect, but it was stable, predictable, and I held on to that routine more than I ever realized. I had a job I didn't mind, a home that wasn't fancy but kept me warm, and a relationship that, at the time, I thought would last forever. I didn't know that in a single day, almost all of it would slip through my fingers. It began at exactly 9:12 a.m. when I received a call from my employer. The moment I saw the office number flashing on my phone, something inside me tightened. My boss never called me directly. I stepped outside to take the call, the cold air biting my skin. He didn't waste time with small talk. He cleared his throat, and in a voice that tried to sound professional but cracked with stress, he told me the company was shutting down our entire department. Effective immediately. No warning. No safety net. No second chances. My job, the thing I'd relied on for 6 years, was simply gone. I stood there frozen, unable to speak as he apologized again and again. My mind raced with the bills due next week, the rent I'd barely managed last month, and the fact that the savings account I'd meant to rebuild had barely anything left in it. The world suddenly felt heavier, as if the sky itself was pressing down on me. I hung up the call and stared at the street ahead of me, where life continued normally, cars passing, people walking, everyone unaware that my world had just been knocked off its foundation. I walked back inside quietly, trying to process what had just happened. My hands trembled, and before I could gather myself, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a message, one I wish I hadn't opened. My girlfriend, the person I trusted most, had finally said what I'd felt creeping in the shadows for weeks. She said she needed space, that things weren't working, and that she'd be moving her things out over the next few days. It felt like someone had taken the air from my lungs. It wasn't the breakup itself that shattered me, but the timing. Why on this day, of all days? Why when I had already lost something huge? I didn't respond. I couldn't. I felt like if I tried to speak, even through a text, everything inside me would break open. I just sat down on the old couch and stared at the walls that suddenly felt too close, too empty. Life wasn't just falling apart, it was caving in. And I didn't know how I was supposed to stop it. By noon the sky had turned gray, matching the storm inside me. I walked outside again, hoping to clear my mind, but instead the universe seemed to have one more surprise waiting. A neighbor rushed toward me, breathless, telling me there had been a fire at the old apartment complex across the street. An electrical short, they said. Flames had eaten through the roof in minutes, and while firefighters managed to control it, several units were left uninhabitable. And among those units was mine. I didn't believe it at first. I pushed through the gathering crowd, the police tape, the smoke-filled air, and stared helplessly at the charred remains of what used to be my home. My clothes, my keepsakes, the memories I'd collected, almost everything was either burned or drenched by the hoses. I felt weak, like my knees would give out. In one day, one single day, I had lost my job, my relationship, and now my home. People whispered around me, some staring, some shaking their heads. Someone touched my arm gently and asked if I needed anything, but I couldn't even manage a reply. Inside me, something was sinking deeper and deeper, like a stone thrown into an ocean. I walked away quietly, not sure where I was going. I just walked. I ended up in the small park near the river, where families usually gathered on weekends. But today it was empty, quiet. I sat on one of the benches and buried my face in my hands. For the first time in years, I cried. Not softly, not quietly, but the kind of cry that shakes your whole body. The kind that drains you until you feel hollow. I didn't know how long I sat there. Time seemed to lose meaning. At some point, I heard footsteps approaching. I assumed it was someone passing by, but instead the steps stopped right in front of me. I wiped my face quickly, embarrassed, but when I looked up, I saw an older woman, someone I didn't recognize, standing there with a gentle smile. She held out a warm coffee cup toward me, steam rising from it into the cold air. "You look like you could use this," she said softly. I hesitated, but her eyes were kind, deep, comforting, the kind that made you feel safe without a single word. I finally took the cup, my hands still shaking. The warmth seeped into my fingers, grounding me for the first time that day. She sat beside me without asking, without prying. She didn't bombard me with questions. She didn't tell me to cheer up or be stronger. She just sat there, silently offering her presence like a lifeline. After a while, she spoke again, her voice calm and steady. "You're having a bad day," she said. Not a question, a simple truth. I nodded, unable to speak. She placed a hand gently on my shoulder. "Sometimes life breaks all at once," she said. "But sometimes, that's how it makes space for something new." Her words didn't magically fix everything. They didn't erase the losses. But they settled in me, warm and heavy, like the coffee in my hands. And in that moment, when my world had fallen apart piece by piece, this stranger's kindness was the one thing holding me together. That was the moment everything began to change.